Welcome to Let's Talk About It, number 23. So, apologies for the sound distortion on last week. The microphone volume auto-adjusted itself and went stupidly high. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the latest vulnerabilities that have been covered since the last one. So, as always, I'm going to put the link to my notes on this so you can check them out. They'll be on the forum and you can basically take a look at all these links and news articles yourself. So if you do need anything, the links will be available in the description when the feed is over. Right, first up, Ivanti Endpoint Manager SQL injection vulnerability allows remote code execution. So SQLI. So a critical. This is posted from Cybersecurity News. So a critical security flaw CVE 2024-37381 has been discovered in the Ivanti Endpoint Manager EPM 2024 flat. The vulnerability is an unspecified SQL injection flaw in the core server component, potentially allowing attackers to execute code on affected systems. So you're going to want to patch this. We have a CVSS score of 8.4, so indicating it's fairly high. Now it's an authenticated attack, so the attacker does need to be authenticated to perform this. So an authenticated attacker within the same network can exploit this vulnerability to execute remote code. So a hot patch has been released. Did it say the versions on here? So to apply the patch, administrators must download the security hot patch files, which include patchapi.dll and mbsdkservice.dll. So these files should be used to replace the original DLLs in the specific locations on the EPM core server. So this article will be linked below. Again, from Cybersecurity News, Atlassian Data Center and Server flaw let attackers execute code. So we've got another remote code execution. This one's got a CVSS score of 8.1 out of 10. The affected products include the Confluence Data Center and Server, Jira Software Data Center and Server, Jira Service Management Data Center and Server, and Bitbucket Data Center and Server. There's a number of disclosed vulnerabilities, which include file inclusion, server-side request forgery, cross-site scripting, denial of service, dependency vulnerabilities, and another denial of service. So, yeah, you're going to want to patch this. Patch all affected versions to the latest one. So if you're running any of those, then you're going to want to go ahead and patch them. So that's Confluence Data Center and Server, Jira Software Data Center and Server, Jira Service Management Data and Server, and as we mentioned, Bitbucket Data Center and Server. There's a few vulnerabilities this week. I'm actually trying to get through these because I've going away somewhere tonight. So Apache HugeGraph server remote code execution under active attack. What are the details for this? Okay, the first thing of note, it has a CVSS score of 9.8, which allows unauthenticated attackers to execute code and operating system commands on vulnerable servers. Missing reflection filtering in the security manager. So you're going to want to patch HugeGraph if you're using it. The CVE in question is CVE 2024-27348. So say 9.8. It's not as bad as it gets, but it's pretty bad. Proof of concepts are already available, so you need to patch this pretty much straight away. We have Netgear have made the news. So we've got multiple Netgear vulnerabilities let attackers bypass authentication. So obviously that's not good. So Netgate has released an update to the firmware to address the high severity authentication bypass that currently affects CAX 30 models. So an attacker can potentially gain full control of the vulnerable device without requiring any user interaction, leading to a complete takeover. So post-authentication command injection vulnerability in the Netgear XR1000 router firmware before 1.0.72 could allow an authenticated attacker to execute commands on the above. So there's a few security vulnerabilities that have been addressed by this. So if you're running the Netgear, what did I say? Currently affects CAX 30 models. You want to do them. Our weekly visit to WordPress. So WordPress plugin flaw lets attackers seize administrative control. This one is CVE 2024-6695. So a critical vulnerability has been discovered in the popular Profile Builder and Profile Builder Pro plugins that have got over 50,000 active installations. This is cybersecurity news again. So it's been catalogued in the WordPress vulnerability database, and yeah, you're going to want to update. We've got examples of the code. So email validation. Brief overview of the process. The plugin validates the email address provided during registration to ensure that it's not already in use and valid email format. Automatic login. The user is automatically logged in with a subscriber role after successful registration. This process involves generating a security nonce and retrieving the user object using the email address. And under verification, the plugin then uses the generated nonce and user ID to log the user in with corresponding privilege automatically. So this is, we've got proof of concept scheduled to be released on August the 5th. So if you're using those WordPress plugins, you're going to want to update because that's pretty bad. Yeah, 9.8, and it was reported by WP Scam. So if you're running Profile Builder or Profile Builder Pro, you're going to want to check that's up to date. We'll stick with WordPress. This one is from Latest Hacker News. And this affects the Modern Events Calendar plugin. And it's actively being exploited. So websites must rush to update their sites with the latest plugin release because hackers have started exploiting a serious vulnerability in the calendar plugin to target WordPress sites. While exploiting the flaw required the attacker to have authenticated access. Unauthenticated attacks could also become possible on sites allowing unauthenticated event submissions. So in the worst exploitation attempts, a vulnerability could allow complete website takeover via web shells or other techniques. We've got a CV ID of 2024-5441. And that's got a CVSS rating of 8.8. So if you're running, what did we say? The Modern Events Calendar WordPress plugin, you'll want to get that updated. We'll stay with WordPress. Again, from Latest Hacker News. So, Profile Grid WordPress plugin could allow admin access. It's not a good week for WordPress, is it? I'm not sure what Profile Grid is. I haven't used it. So, must update the websites with the latest release. A severe privilege escalation vulnerability in Profile Grid could allow admin access to target WordPress websites. WordFence have shared this. Threaten thousands of WordPress websites. I mean, that's not a particular lot, but I suppose it's a concern if you're one of the people running Profile Grid. So it's a dedicated plugin for WordPress sites that allow users to set up user profiles, communities, directories, groups, and other interactive stuff. Boasts over 7,000 active installations. That's not a particular lot, to be honest, for a WordPress plugin. So PM upload image Ajax action due to the lack of validation and an authenticated. So it is authenticated. This is CVE 2024-6411. It was reported by T-Fam Chong Nan, I'm definitely said that wrong, from TechLab Corp, who reported it to WordFence Bounty Bug Program and got $488 for it. So this vulnerability affects all plugin versions until 5.8.9. WordFence coordinated with the plugin of the developers for a patch, which develops them, then rolled out to Profile Grid version 5.9.0. So 5.9.0 is a version of, what did I say? This was Profile Grid that you're going to want to update to if you're running that plugin. Move some of these tabs. So CISO warns of critical GeoServer GeoTools RCE flaw being exploited in attacks. So CVE 2024-36401. GeoServer, if you're not familiar with it, is an open source server that allows users to share, process, and modify geospatial data. So on 30th of June, GeoServer disclosed a critical 9.8 severity remote code execution vulnerability in the GeoTools plugin caused by unsafely evaluating proper names as XPath expressions. So I'm not going to go through what XPath is. If you want to read up on this, I'll leave it below, but you're going to want to patch the GeoServer GeoTools if you're running that. We've got Juniper. Juniper flaw in GNOS flaw lets attackers gain full root access. So obviously Juniper's and GNOS is widely used. What have we got? Enable threat access, again full root access. So improper neutralization of spatial element vulnerabilities in Juniper networks, Junos OS evolved command line. So it's authenticated, so it's not an unauthenticated attack. But even though the attacker possesses low-level permissions, they can exploit the parsing mechanism by which commands are interpreted, which will give them privilege escalation. So you'll want to make sure that if you're using that, it's patched. So the versions involved is 20.4 R3 S7 Evo, 21.2 before 21.2 R3 S8, 21.4 before 21.4 R3. So if you're running this, you're going to want to make sure that you are running the latest version of the OS. So like I say, I'll leave the links, double check with the manufacturer, and double check the version of the operating system that you're running. What have we got next? Cellopoint secure email gateway flaw. Lets attackers execute code. Yeah, not familiar with this, to be honest. Never heard of it. Well, we've got CV 2024-6744. And that's been assigned a score of 9.8. So you're going to want to address this if you're running Cellopoint secure email gateway. So yeah, unauthenticated attack, obviously represented by the 9.8 score, allowing remote command execution. The technical details are obviously here if you want to go through them. But obviously you're going to want to, the public disclosure is July the 15th, so what are we on, 17th, literally a couple of days ago. So you're going to want to double check that if you're running this secure email gateway from Cellopoint. So I've not heard of that one before. Exim. So, critical Exim mail server vulnerability impacts 1.5 million email servers, and this was reported by Cybersecurity News. So, Exim is a mail transport agent, MTA. Excuse me. So, it's free, mail transport agent. It runs on Unix, Linux, and it's a popular mail transport agent. So we've got CVE 2024 39929, and we've got a rating of 9.1 out of 10, which allows threat actors to bypass security protections and deliver executable attachments to users. That's not good. So this vulnerability, which was disclosed 10 days ago, when was this reported? July the 13th. So obviously a bit longer, 15 days. Affects all versions of Exim up to and including 4.97.1. So if you run Exim, you'll want to patch that. I believe cPanel uses it as well. So you're just going to want to check what software you're running, and if you are running it, then yeah, you need to patch this straight away. We have Palo Alto Networks patches critical flaw in Expedition migration tool. We've got a 9.3 CVSS score. So Palo Alto Networks has released security updates to address 5 security flaws impacting its products, including a critical bug that can lead to an authentication bypass. So it's in the Expedition migration tool. So missing authentication for a critical function in Palo Alto Networks Expedition can lead to an admin account takeover for attackers with network access to Expedition. Impacts all versions prior to 1.2.92, so that's the version you need to update to. There's no evidence it's been exploited. It does require network access to it. Again, I'll leave the link so you can compare the versions if you are running that. That's it for the vulnerabilities. I'm just trying to go through this quickly because I think I need a new power supply for the camera. It seems to be dying after about an hour. Yeah, let's close some of these off. What are we up to next? So we've done the vulnerabilities, so this is the usual part where we go through what people are trying to do and get you to click on. And we've got fake Microsoft Teams that delivers macOS malware. So yes, Mac does get I was just looking at that. So yeah, if you search for Microsoft Teams for Mac, sponsored ads, and you can see this is malicious. So you're just going to want to be careful of that. So it was OS X rod steel that was being deployed. Lasted for several days. Although the advertisement does display Microsoft.com, it does not concern Microsoft, and it comes from an advertiser based in Hong Kong who has many unconnected ads. So yeah, Mac OS stealers are becoming more prominent. It does look like Teams. But then we can see the C2 servers, payloads. We've got an indicator of compromise. So again, I'll leave the link below so you can check these. So we've got download URLs you can search from, stealer payloads, and a couple of websites that you can check for your logs, and of course the C2 server. I say every week, don't click on sponsored ads on Google. They're generally malicious. What's this? New phishing tactics mimic as HR attacking employees. I've actually seen this one. Modified employee handbook for all employees. I have actually seen this email going about, so yep, it is. So it arrives in an employee's mailbox with the subject that immediately grabs your attention. So modified handbook for all employees. Kindly acknowledge. What does it do? So the primary goal of this phishing email is to lure recipients into clicking on the embedded hyperlink, which tricks them into entering the credentials. So it's credential stealing for Microsoft 365 by the looks of things. So just be aware of that. If you're running email servers on Microsoft 365, if you're a business IT guy and you're watching this, then this subject, you can just block that subject completely. Obviously, there's ways around blocking certain things you can block, but yeah, it's a Microsoft 365 one. So yeah, logging, and this is why you should also enable MFA. Always. What are we on now? We're down to the breach things. So Bleeping Computer have covered this. Over 400,000 Life 360 user phone numbers have been leaked via an unsecured API. So yeah, you're gonna want to watch out for phishing texts and things called smishing if you do use that service. Likewise, so Trello users. So I thought this was Twilio. It's not. It's Trello this time. So email addresses of 50 million Trello users have been leaked on a hacking forum. So Trello, the online project management tool by Atlassian. So businesses use it. And this will lead to, obviously, phishing attacks. Because the API wasn't secured and people was able to download the full email address. Richard, hello. How are you doing? Okay? Thank you for joining us. Yeah, sorry, there wasn't much notice about this one. In fact, I was going to re-record last week's because the sound was terrible. I just haven't had the time to do it, and I'm away today, tomorrow. So, I do normally advertise them as I do them, like put them up a couple of hours beforehand, so people are aware of them. But I just didn't get the chance to do that this time. Sorry. So reportedly, again, cybersecurity news. That's a popular one this week. 361 million unique emails and passwords have been up for sale on Telegram. I've not had a look at this, so I don't know how up to date it is. It's a massive data set totaling 122 gig and containing 2 billion rows of data across 1,700 files. Is being offered for $500 through an Instagram channel. Incidentally, if anyone uses Kali, and there's the rockq.txt file has been is rockq 2024. It's common passwords and things. That's been updated, and it's absolutely massive in size. So according to Cyberpress, the breach discovered in May 2024 appears to be a compilation of data from various sources. Richard, fine. Glad to hear. This is an interesting compilation of usernames and passwords. So the compromised data spans like a wide range of services, including Gmail, Amazon, Facebook, Spotify, Netflix, PayPal, Instagram, Twitter, LastPass, Adobe, Twitch, and Coinbase. Cyberpress researchers have verified the authenticity of the data by testing multiple account credentials, confirming that many are still active and can be used for various online services. Again, pretty much all these services support passkeys or multi-factor authentication, and you should definitely have it enabled. In fact, if you haven't, I mean, why would you not have MFA on your PayPal account or your Gmail or Amazon? Just any of them. That's a huge ass breach. So, if you're one that reuses passwords across multiple services, consider using a password manager such as Bitwarden. It is free. BMW Hong Kong has had a breach. 14,000 customer records exposed. I did want to have a look at the CDK breach as well again and see what updates was on that, but just haven't had the time. So this is from July the 16th, 2024. Exposed personal information. So according to reports from cybersecurity watchdogs, the leaked data includes crucial customer details such as salutations, surnames, first names, mobile numbers, and SMS opt-out preferences. So that's not going to be good for BMW. Right, so let me just bring this up actually. The June Windows Server updates are reported to break Microsoft 365 Defender features. So Microsoft has confirmed that the Windows Server updates from last month's patch Tuesday break some Microsoft Defender features that use network data reporting service. If there's a patch for this, so Microsoft 365 Defender, or XDR as it's known. So devices which have installed Windows Server updates released June the 11th, 2024, and there's a KB 5039227, may experience problems with Microsoft Defender. The network detection and response service might encounter issues resulting in interruption of network data and reporting. Obviously never good for a server. So this known issue only affects Windows Server 2022 systems and will cause other issues. So check the Microsoft Admin Center. Oh, there is an out-of-band update. So the company also released an out-of-band update 504.10540, which fixes KB 5039227 that caused. Oh, that's a different one. Another emergency fix was pushed to Windows Server in May. Yeah, that's the old one. Yeah, it is. So the KB in question is 5039227. So you can remove that or take a look to see. Released an out-of-band update 504 to fix a 5039227 bug that caused. Okay, that's a different one. Microsoft is also fixing a third issue caused by 5039227, which prevent users from changing their account profile pictures. Just receive this error. So I don't know. I guess if you're experiencing the issues, remove this 5039227. We're going to stay with Microsoft. So Microsoft are changing the way Windows updates are working. So Microsoft announces new Windows Checkpoint cumulative updates. So this is obviously reported from Bleeping Computer here. So Microsoft will introduce. Interesting. Yeah, this one here. I've not read up on it properly, so I'm just kind of catching up on this myself now. So Microsoft will introduce Checkpoint cumulative updates starting in late 2024 for systems running devices running Windows Server 2025 Windows 11 version 24H2 or later. So it's Windows Server 2025 and Windows 11. Yeah, you should be on the latest version anyway. So this new type of update will deliver security fixes and new features via smaller incremental differentials that only include changes since the previous checkpoint update. With the goal being to save users bandwidth, hard drive space, and the time spent installing these long updates, because yeah, they can take quite a while. So I'm glad that they're doing that, but it just seems to be for Windows 11 and Windows 2000 2025. So it's starting with Windows 11 24H2. The servicing stack will be able to merge all these checkpoints to ensure that only missing content is downloaded and installed. So that's a welcome change for Windows Update, because it's just a pain at the best of times. They'll simply appear as normal monthly update. They're just going to be improved, so you probably won't notice a difference, but your updates should start becoming a lot faster, because it's only downloading the updates that you don't already have on your system. Why it doesn't work like that already, I have no idea. So this comes 5 years after Microsoft discontinued Windows 10 Delta and Express updates, delivered via the Microsoft Update Catalog on April the 19th, 2009. And I think that puts us through everything that I was going to be on about. Unless there's nothing more recent came out since I put these notes together. Again, apologies for the sound on last week's live stream. I don't wear headphones when I'm doing it, so it's kind of yes, we've done that one. Yeah, I don't wear earphones when I'm doing these because they do my head in. So I didn't actually notice the sound was bad until the stream was over, even though a couple of people did mention it. That's pretty much what I've got to cover this week. I was just looking for Cloudflare reports that 7% of all internet traffic is malicious. I'm surprised it's just 7%. So yeah, I was trying to find an update on the CDK stuff, but yep. Right, so it was a quick one today. Richard, thank you for joining me. I will be back next week, 19:30. Hopefully with no more sound issues or video issues. I've got a new power supply coming for the camera. I started checking the sound before I actually did the stream. I've never had to do that before. Just Windows automatically updated the sound. So, yep, thank you for joining me. Call in and see us next week. Again, I'll leave the link to the forum post and all my notes so you can see them. And even though the sound was bad on last week's, I'll update the description on that and put the link to the forums on there as well. I need to post them both, so I'll do that now. So thank you for joining. I'll see you next week.